Hello, hi all. Welcome back to another edition of Crisis Talk. Today, we are going to be discussing should Black customers prioritize Black businesses. My name's Palumi.
And I'm William.
And I'm Shy. And today we have our guest who is...
Hi, I'm Rebecca. I run a business called Embody Naturals. It's a skincare business, all natural handmade products to order. The Instagram is @embody_naturals and the Twitter is @embody_naturals as well.
Are your products
Cool.
organic and all that? Like,
Yeah, so body scrubs, all of them are vegan and all natural ingredients. So things like organic, unrefined shea butter, Barbados cane sugar, stuff like that. And then
Ooh.
Let's start off. So I just want to give a little statistic here. So Taser Black posted this on Instagram and it's this girl's tweet from Twitter. The Black spending in the UK, Black spending power is £300 billion. The Black community makes up 3% of the population, but Black businesses generate 10 billion for the UK economy. 90% of spending is done outside of the community and only 2% of the spending is done with Black businesses. So either way, the main point that you need to have is 2% of spending is done with Black businesses, as in we as a Black community only spend 2% of our 300 billion spending power with Black businesses. So from there, that for me, them statistics that I've been known, like even if I didn't have the statistics right there in front of me, I've been known that this is what would be illustrated. This is one of the reasons why I choose to shop Black, and I make it a conscious decision where I can and with specific things in my life, like definitely for my hair, I choose Black businesses only. Like you very rarely see me using a hair product that's not made by a Black woman. You know, Black people, but specifically Black women. What do you guys think? Should we prioritize, as Black people, prioritize Black businesses?
Yes, I think we should. And I think it's just economics. Like, we need generational wealth in the Black community. We need these things to further advance ourselves. Right now, that's just what we need to do, especially with this cultural change that we have. I feel like it's very important that it's not just social change, but economic change, because there's a statistic that Black-owned firms are twice as likely to be rejected for business loans. Those kind of things need to change so that Black people and Black individuals don't need to depend on white organizations to become successful.
the key to it is education. Like, we know there are kind of only a few, but there are examples in history where when Black people have spent Black and kept their money in the communities have thrived. And then because of obviously how, even obviously racism is bad now, but because of how it was then, as soon as they've got like a certain point, it's been kind of pushed down by systematic racism again. Like we saw it with Black Wall Street that got destroyed. The way that they just completely destroyed that, pretty much 99% of their money was going back into their community, and they managed to literally like build themselves and become known in history as Black Wall Street. And I think that if we had that mentality for just kind of as Black people in general, not just one area, not just one community, but just as a race, I think if we had that mentality, we wouldn't, like Palumi said, we wouldn't have to rely on white corporations as much to boost us to where we need to be, because we would have people that do that. Like, there are pages for small business support that are made by Black people to help younger people in the community run Black businesses, and I think people need to boost those pages and utilize them more as well.
I just want to quickly comment on that. I think that the problem as well is often a lot of Black people criticise prioritising Black businesses because they don't want us to, they think it's racist, or they don't want us to follow in white people's steps in terms of, you know, oh no, but isn't that discriminatory? But look the fruits of the labour. When like Black Wall Street, if you didn't bring it up, I was literally like, Black Wall Street, like if we do mobilise together and put that money back into our community, we see the fruits of our labour and we see what happens. There's no time to be, ooh, you know, let's just support everybody. Not Black businesses, small business. No, I want the money to be going back to where I'm at, not everybody else. Like, it's not a bad thing to say, because look, even when people do thrive, look what happens. Systemic racism comes and shoots you. So the only people who can help us is ourselves.
Yeah, and I feel like that's what Black people need to do, and people need to understand is like right now, we are the only ones that have got each other's backs at this point, and like we're the only ones that can help each other. And this is in regards to business, in regards to like everything else. Like we need to like support each other, because it's like we have tried and failed, clearly due to the systemic racism that still involves, to try and collaborate and work with our white counterparts, and it's not been like, it's been successful in some areas, but very not successful in other areas. And I think we need to understand that and shift our focus in regards to making sure we support Black businesses.
What I'll say is, in a situation where a Black business and a white business or a non-Black business sell the exact same product, the exact same price, the exact same quality, I'll always go to the Black business owner because I'm a Black person. They could call it whatever they want, but that's just what I'll do. You know, just like when I go to a nightclub and there's an uncle in the bathroom selling chewing gums and perfume sprays, I'll always drop him a $5 and he'll spray me up, just because, you know, I like seeing uncle providing for his kids. Having said that, money has to be earned. If there's a white business that provides better value for money over the Black business for the same product or service, I'm going to the white business. Because I work far too hard for my money to be giving it out for the sake of, oh, that's my bro, that's my neighbor, that's my this, that's my that. Because ultimately, I have to make the best financial decision. And sometimes the best financial decision might be going to the white business. And yes, support Black businesses. Yes, we do need the Black economy to grow. Yes, Black people do need to educate themselves and build their own generational wealth. But they need to also deserve all that. I can't just give you money because you're Black. Like, if your product is nowhere near as good as Mr. Jonathan, who's a white guy, then you need to graft and make that product better so that you actually deserve my money. Because I'm gonna go to the person who gives you better value for my money, because money is not a joke.
Absolutely, money's not a joke. I feel like it would be actually quite degrading and quite like disrespectful just to say, oh, I'm only going for you because you're Black. It's not conducive to the idea of equality and just fairness. So I don't think anybody's trying to say that, oh, just go for Black businesses on the basis of them just being Black. What I'm saying is that in regards to Black people and Black businesses, when it does come to quality and when it does come to like content in general, like there are Black YouTubers that have like great content on YouTube and other platforms, and they are not being given the same accolades. The same accolades as their white counterparts, and they're not seen as equals, point blank period. And when there's an opportunity for people for them to be torn down, like we saw with Nella Rose, people dragged her. People in the Black community dragged her. And I feel like what we need to understand is, yes, call people out when they need to be called out, and yes, don't just accept something just because on the basis that they're Black. However, we need to also understand that Black people and Black businesses are a minority that we need to help support and build up. Not even for ourselves, not for ourselves alone, but for our children and our children's children.
So I definitely agree with you, William, that I would never, you know, if this girl's selling a really cute bag and it's cheaper than this other girl, like the Black girl, then, you know, got to do what I've got to do. I'm a part-time worker, you know, we don't get paid a lot.
I'm a student.
So, exactly that too. But I think where the issue lies as well is, I think it's the lack of knowledge on it, but I think Black people need to start, and, you know, I had to do it as well. We need to stop waiting for things to come to you. You need to look for them, because there are a lot of businesses. So a lot of these businesses are mediocre. A lot of these YouTubers are mediocre. There's nothing special about them, but they're being pushed. Why? Because they're white and they fit that thing, that they're the ones being pushed. Therefore, we, unfortunately, as a Black community and as Black people, we need to go looking. Like when the threads were coming out of, oh, this is Black owned, this is not Black owned, I was shocked by the amount of people who didn't know. Like, I've already done that. Like, I went out of my way because that's something that I felt like was important, me finding Black hair brands that were run by Black people, because I want my Black hair to go back, my Black hair, the money that I spend on my Black hair to go back to Black people. That's something that was important to me. So I think Black people, that there's always going to be a business, I feel like a lot of the time, that will cater to your needs in the same way that other businesses. It's just that the other business, say like a Cantu is always going to be pushed more because they have that money to, you know, promo and do all these things. So go out of your way and look for the Black businesses, like a Design Essentials. I'm looking at my hair stuff now, like a Curls, like a Afrocentrics, like, you know, do that work yourself, because then you everyone else will reap the rewards. Yeah.
I agree
And
with
then
that.
also in other like cultures and other minorities, they don't say Asian people are being racist when they keep things in their own community and build their own place. Like there's a Bank of China. There's a Bank of China in freaking Manchester
You
Piccadilly
should know the
Street.
economy
And
of China, though, Kalumi. China's
no,
very
but
powerful.
that's
So
not
that's a
that's what
different
that's
conversation.
I agree with you. It's a problem because we're told like, oh, we're taught in school, oh, everyone's equal, it's all good, everything's good, and that makes that us as Black people, like, I feel like we shouldn't have to feel like for supporting our own businesses that we are now racist. Like, it's borderline impossible because we've been pushed down to such a point of oppression that for us to kind of buy into our own community, for someone to imply that's racist would be ridiculous. Also, in terms of what you said, William, about the money, I think I agree with you. Like, you should be spending, your money where it's best spent, and I agree with that. But I think for me, it does depend on the kind of context of that. I think it's very much case by case. Because for me, I did a lot of research when I was pricing my products, and I started off very cheap, and I had to raise my prices because I had to fit in postage, I had to fit in how am I going to make money back, all of them kind of things, ingredients. I was counting ingredients by the gram, like thinking how am I going to make this money back. And I looked literally on skincare brands. I was typing in like body butter, body scrub, body this, and the Body Shop, £16 for 200 milliliters. I charged £7.50 for 250 milliliters of body butter. And when I was looking at the pricing difference, I was thinking I might have looked at another brand and thought, well, that's a bit expensive. But then when I realized that, like, compared to all these other brands, there are brands selling, body oil for £29. So if someone looks at my brand and they don't want to pay for that because they think it's a bit too much or it's a bit expensive, I do think that part of that does come into the fact that you're smaller and you're Black owned as well, because sometimes we expect that because we don't always have big, I don't want to stereotype, but we don't always have like a lot of money or whatever, or we're students or whatever. And I think especially when you're Black, you might expect that someone else who's Black knows you might not have a lot of disposable income to spend on supporting every single Black business. But at the same time, I think it's like you said, you have to look and you have to search and you have to research to change your mentality. Because if we have a mentality as Black people that something's expensive because it's coming from someone else who's Black, we need to research the white brands and say, well, what are they charging? What have I spent in the past? Because we buy them without thinking. We don't think about those before we buy those. So I think
yeah.
you have to have a look at what you're
Market.
spending on and what you've bought in the past and say, well, last week at Pretty Little Thing, I spent £50, but now I won't spend £10 to support a business that is like literally, it's been made with my skin in mind, it's been made with my hair in mind. So I think it is about priorities as well, because even though you might see that someone's selling the same for £1 cheaper, that pound is going back into your community. So I think it is case by case.
I feel like the word support and business really should not be in the same sentence, because businesses don't need to be support. Businesses are supposed to survive. They're supposed to provide value. And ultimately, if your business fails, don't matter what race you are, don't matter whatever you are, it's because there's something lacking in the foundations or in the execution or in the entire product as a whole. I do agree with you. People do tend to be have this also association that Black businesses, maybe the quality is lower, maybe it's overpriced because she's doing XYZ, making it cheaper. So people definitely do need to reverse that mindset. But I don't know. I feel like this notion of you have to support businesses is not the right way to go about running your business. Like you should look at your business and think, okay, they do this and they charge that much because they do this and this. They've been in the market for 10 years. They got blah, 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 blah going for them. Okay, I'm new. So obviously I can't charge what they charge. My brand power ain't as high as their brand power, but I offer this value. My products are vegan. My products are organic. So my price is justified, and put the hours in.
Yeah, of course. That's exactly what I had to do. Like, put the hours in, put the research in, make sure it was all done. But I think at the same time, like, I'm already charging less, but I'm also charging X amount times less than someone who's been in business or someone who's been in business longer than me. Obviously, like, I'm not expecting to be at the same level as Body Shop in my first month of business, of course. But at the same time, if someone will put something in their shopping basket without thinking, and I charge 3 times less, and you still say it's expensive, to me, that would be a bit of a backwards mentality.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I think the reason why we often use the word support is because they need our support, because the thing going against themselves is often, sometimes not their own, not for lack of trying, but because of the structures that are in place. Like Palumi said, they're less likely to get business loans, or they're less likely to be seen as reputable. Like there's these issues, and that's why we choose the word support and we choose to support. I also think as well, something that I've started thinking about more is trying to choose black businesses who, because not every black person is cut from the same cloth. Not every, like we might think, oh my gosh, I'm gonna buy from this black business. These times they don't care. They're trying to make money, like, you know, which is it's a prerogative, like it's a black business. However, I think my thing as well is trying to now figure out, it's just being black is hard, man. Everything is hard. Trying to figure out where I'm spending my money. It's the ghetto. And now, who told me? Who told me? Now, sorry, Plumi, let me land. My thing is trying to find businesses that also share the same values that I have about it going back into the black community. Because you can support a black business all they want, but if they're not on that same way with generational wealth, it's not helping no one. It's a lie.
Yeah.
No. When it comes to this wealth thing, that's nothing to read finance books. If you want to make generational wealth, stop saying, oh, maths is so bad, and pick up a finance book and read it.
What I just wanted to say is, I get what you're saying, William, and I do agree with that. I think that there is a change in mentality that's needed. I feel like because of such historical structures that have been in place about racism, slavery was 400 years ago, however long it was ago, right? And then black people are expected now to, like, in a sense, get over that and then just like push on and keep on pushing. It's like they don't even have a time. We don't even have time to like just take a break, take a minute and just breathe, calm. That's the life we live. We move. I think that now what it is about education. It is about supporting each other, and it is about black people ourselves not trying to fraud each other, or not trying to like overcharge things when you know that you can like your business like can charge less. It is about like we need to not go against each other as much in regards to businesses, and like just
undercharge.
Or undercharge. We don't need to undercharge either.
Yeah, exactly what you deserve.
Yeah,
we just need to make it all the same, and make it right how it should be, and just support each other. And then after that, we can then go into not just supporting each other, but then it's just about surviving, William. But I feel like because of the historical facts, now it is just, we need to support each other.
So what about competing black businesses then? Because, you know, what about Auntie and Auntie next door? They both have jollof rice restaurants. Is that the question of support businesses? Businesses survival from the get-go. I don't know. I do get what you're saying. We do need to put some effort into actually trying to fight these things that have been against us. But I don't know. I still believe.
We said though, like you go to the best. You go to the best place. So whichever auntie is winning the jollof rice contest, that she's getting the money. Like it be like that. But it's just the fact that then again, because I think a lot of black businesses, they're on the same playing field, but they're not necessarily on the same playing field, as everybody else. So, you know, you can't make that call of who's better in normal situations with different types of businesses, because it's not just the who's better. There's all these different intricacies when you look at a black business versus a white business, or even an Asian business, or a Jewish. Even though, it's
kind of like, so if you have so in terms of systematic oppression, racism, all of that, it's kind of like a white person will make a business, and so like imagine someone's dug a hole, threw all the black businesses in the hole, and then black people kind of need to pull each other out of that situation before they can get on the right track to competing with those white businesses. That's the kind of best analogy I can think for it, because out of the hole, you can either pull a black person out of that situation, or you can give a white person money to keep building. So you can't build until you get above ground, basically. And I think that when people use that word support, that's where that comes from.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Well, the matter of fact as well is we need more black businesses in more industries, because there's some industries it's literally only white people. So of course, the £300 billion of the black power, 98% of it goes to white. You know, like, do you know any black hotel owners Or do you know any black
Black banks,
smartphone
guys, support them too.
Black banks. Yo, that so and that again all comes back to education. So my friends, stay in school. Don't go to the selling drugs life. Selling drugs is not a black business. Doing 419 is not a black business. Stay in school, get your crafting, get your grafting, and
I think
fraud looks technical to me. So if you're smart enough to do fraud, you can go
it's
past
not a black business.
I don't understand.
Shy does not represent crisis talk with that statement. No.
No, I'm saying as in, it seems very complicated. So if you can do that, you can defo do bits on.
No, I get what you're saying, because Jay-Z was a freaking drug dealer, and like he has a.
You have to have a business mind.
Like that's a business. That's a business.
No.
Like,
Fraud, you don't need it. Fraud is thievery. Fraud.
It looks no. I'm saying it looks complicated. Like it sounds complicated. I don't understand.
It's complicated, but it's still stealing.
No, I'm not saying it's good. I'm saying
complicated.
If you can do that, if you can do that, then you can apply yourself to starting your own business and lifting yourself up.
That's what we're trying to say.
You can get somewhere
I
else.
don't disagree with you, but I'm just trying to. I don't want.
I'm not saying fraud's good.
I don't want any positives being shown on. I don't want.
No, and nobody's advocating for people to sell drugs either. We're just saying that that these things are difficult to do, and
some people sell drugs.
If you can apply yourself, if you can apply yourself to one, you can apply yourself to another. Like Jay-Z did.
Educate.
Yeah.
Get a finance book. Get a finance
this unit
book.
education, anyways. This unit education is mad. Sometimes you're better off educating yourself.
That's what I think. I think you have to educate yourself. That's so important, because even in school, they don't teach you about what you actually need to do to get places. They don't teach you about, you learn basic maths, you learn basic English. They teach you in history that a white man ended slavery, and don't teach you about any riots, anything like that, any of the efforts that led up to it. So I think if you can't even trust what they educate you on in history and in in terms of it being about your own community, you kind of need to educate yourself and use it. The internet is a real thing. Just use the internet, look online, try and find reliable sources, because really, really and truly, if people can tell you something that benefits them because it keeps you down, they will keep telling it to you forever. Like, honestly, you need to dismantle everything that you've learned that you don't see as trustworthy and form your own opinions.
So I feel like that is it for today's episode. It was really, really nice. Thank you, Rebecca.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Say your acts again.
At Embody Naturals on Instagram, at Embody Naturals on Twitter.
She got some bougie skincare things happening. As a woman, my wallet would be getting rinsed right now for these.
What do you mean? you need to cream your elbows.
Honestly.
No. I have a cream. I'm embarrassed to admit, though, it is made by white people.
Yes. So thank you, Rebecca. Thank you guys for listening to this episode. And just support black businesses.
Support black content creators as well, and give.
Support black content creators. So share crisis. Thank you. Thank you. We'll be back with another episode. See you guys next time.